Welcome to Just an Average Citizen, the podcast that helps you educate, inform, and empower you to make an impact in Abilene and the Big Country. Welcome back for another episode. I'm excited to talk about this one because there is so much on the plate, but it's not so much on our plate, but there's not a lot. It's not going to be a long conversation, hopefully. But there's just a lot of moving parts. And I'm so glad we've cultivated this relationship so that when these things come up, you can be better prepared to know what's going on and you can tell other people about it. One of the things that I think is good about paying attention, as I've been trying to do for the last several years, is that I'm learning when things drop, when information is shared, and how does that affect you and what can you do with it, especially in terms of just keeping a check. You know, it's kind of like you got to pay attention to your dash panel when you're driving your car. And if you don't pay attention to your dash panel and a light comes on and you miss it, then big things can go wrong. But if you're always watching the dash panel, then you're seeing that everything looks good and you're checking and it's a maintenance problem. And it becomes a little bit of somewhat of a second nature because you kind of find the rhythm, how to make sure that works. And so as always, I'm going to ask you to subscribe and share this podcast with your family and friends because it's super important that we get the word out so that people can have a resource to come together and find kind of a better collection of what is going on in our city and how that affects you and what things you need to be paying attention to, because we don't want to storm the gates every week. They would get really tired of us and we just don't have time for that, nor is it very effective. But there are times that we want to make sure we give our input and let them know what we want from them so that they can behave and respond to the ideas that we have so that they represent us well, because we know that all 7 on the council, including the mayor, are representatives of us. And if they're not representing us, then we are working on how we can cultivate more options for the future. Because right now it's a really, basically, we vote on who they want us to vote on. And it's not very often that we find someone who has not been allowed to run. And I'm new to this game, so I don't have a whole lot of history to cite things, but I will say that by the time the election comes around, it can feel as if we're voting on the one we're supposed to vote on. And that's why it's important for us to understand what's going on so that we can go, hey, wait, I can actually be a part of things and I can make a difference by running for city council, because that's what's supposed to happen. Normal people are supposed to be a part of it. And if anyone can learn about city budgets and if anyone can understand things that are going on, then if I can do it, then anyone else can do it. Because believe me, that is never something I ever thought I would want to be a part of. And I even thought it was sweet. And I'm like, I'll help other people. Now I'm in the thick of it, learning what it means. And it's something that we can all do. We just need to normalize that. So that's really good. All right. So I'm going to go through a couple things here. I have been working on, let me see if I'll bring that up. I've been working on trying to make things easier for the different styles of how you want to do things. So the best way to find this information, because it's just the easiest place to share it, is on Facebook. You just follow Just an Average Citizen and you'll follow that. And weekly, I'll post the things that you need to know. It's not going to be a lot of fluff. I don't want to do a lot of TED Talks or things like that. I just want to give you the lowdown and, a little bit of my insight and what I've learned over the time that I've been studying this. So the first thing I want to show you is this. I'm going to play this while we go. So this is something I try to do. I stopped doing it in October and I totally forgot and don't even know why. So I started this back up in November. It gives you a week at a glance what's going on. This week, it's packed. And that's why I put we can do it. We can do it. We can pay attention to hard things. So let's go ahead and look at the calendar. Okay. I just want to give you a heads up. Some of these things are normal and some of these things they just fall at the worst time. And I feel like with it being the end of the year, maybe this is when things are falling. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I don't know if there's actions going on. So we have the Parks and Recreation meeting on Tuesday in the morning. And then at the same time, we have the Firemen's Relief and Retirement Fund Board at a different look in the same building, or maybe that's at the fireman. I don't know where that's at. It just says the second floor finance conference room. And then we have the Abilene-Taylor County Public Health District Board meeting at 1 p.m. Then we have the Abilene Housing Authority on Wednesday, Senior Citizen Advisory Board on Wednesday. Then we have the Abilene Convention Center Hotel Development Corporation on Friday. at 11:30 at the downtown hotel. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then we have a city council meeting also on Thursday. So that's why this thing is packed. I've never had that many on a week before. You can hardly read it. It's kind of there for posterity because I'm not sure if anyone's even going to look at it because there's so much on there. And how do you pay attention? The Parks is recorded. The Parks and Rec Board is recorded. And I don't like it when it does this. The Firemen's is not. The Health District Board is not. And I asked why, and they said, well, nobody's asked me before. Well, I did, so we'll see. The Housing Authority is not. The Senior Citizen is not. The City Council is. And the Convention Center Hotel is not. So there's only 2 meetings you can watch if you can't go to these. And it's all good if you can't go, because I understand. All right, so now let's go to the next part, because I'm trying to move through this so that you can get a 30,000-foot view without having to go to the weeds too much. I came through here just so you can see on the agenda in minutes. And so the Parks and Rec Center board meeting, they have a pretty good agenda and typically have a packet so we can know what's going on. So they're going to honor someone who's been in service for 5 years. They're going to amend a plat request for Southwest Drive. Oh, so this is a good one to watch because this is the Chick-fil-A meeting. And by the time you watch this, it'll already have happened. So watch this one, but it talks about the Chick-fil-A being relocated. So we want to look into that. The YMCA outdoor pool project. They have a good softball complex, parks reports, which are sometimes interesting to hear. The zoo report. And then they'll have an executive session because they're deciding about the possible lease of parkland to Texas Parks and Wildlife. So they'll do that. So that's an agenda. They also have a good packet you can look, but they record it. So I won't spend a lot of time on that. So let me come here. The firemen, that's just a board that, makes sure that the firemen are being taken care of in their employment. So here's what I want you to look at. The Taylor County Health Public District Board agenda. This is not videotaped. This is for the county and the city working on things. But I will say this is an important meeting to pay attention to because there are decisions being made. A lot of this is through federal dollars that come into our city and our county. I mean, Mercy Health Clinic is completely funded by, I believe, federal monies. And they are really focused on helping all the legal immigrants that come into our city in conjunction with the IRC. And so what's interesting, we had a conversation about how do we know how many people are coming to our city through this program? And the person that was asked had no clue. They said, I don't know. It's not really a city issue. And I was like, yeah, it is. It is a city issue. It's a city issue because they talked about it at the health clinic meeting. I think it was about a year ago where they mentioned that about 400 units of people were coming in the next year or so, and each unit could represent 12 people. So that's an interesting thing to know that we are bringing through federal programs people into our city with federal monies. And that's a conversation we need to be having. Okay, I just wanted to say, pay attention to this. There's not really a packet for that. My husband will record it because that's what we're trying to do is record stuff. I haven't really decided the best way to disseminate that information. Maybe we'll just post it on the Just Average Citizen, one of the platforms like we do our podcast so people can watch it because I know not everybody's on Facebook and I'm sorry, but that's the easiest way to get information out. I do try and share the longer videos on all the different platforms you pick. Spotify, Rumble, YouTube, whatever. Okay, so that's an important one to pay attention to, the Health Advisory Board on Tuesday. So I'll have to share that with you. So I'll try and get that on there. This is me making a commitment that I'm going to actually follow through and get it done. It's a super busy week before I looked at the city's calendar. Just saying. Okay. Then the Senior Advisory Board meeting is really about all they do at the Rose Park. And, they've closed down most of the rec centers except for Rose Center. And then the City Council is on Thursday. It is 782 pages, and I've already looked through it. I saw that it dropped on Friday, and I went through to find out my next, the newest thing that I have is the top 3, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. Okay, so the Abilene Convention Center Downtown Hotel Corporation, it's not on the regular minutes because it's kind of a partnership, private-public partnership or something like that with the city. So there's some other, I don't think that's all of it because obviously the 911 isn't one, and Abilene Housing Authority isn't necessarily one. These are just the non-city, it's not operated by the city specifically. They're partners of some sort. Here's the Annual Advisory Board. So I just wanted to come here and show you, they have the agenda, and they have the last time they posted an agenda, let's look here, is 2024. There we go. It's really confusing, to be honest, because they met in May. Here we go. So here's the agenda for this. So if you read this, it's about as carbon copy as you can get. They're going to have an executive session at any time. They're going to approve the annual corporate budget for FY 2025 and hold a discussion with the asset manager and adjourn. So this is a fun one to go to. So we'll be there 11:30 on Friday, and it is in the boardroom of the hotel. And so my husband and I go in and we bring his big bulky camera, and it's a little awkward if I'm honest, but it is a fascinating meeting. So I say if you want to know more about what's going on at the hotel, this is a winner. If you can make time from 11:30 to about 1:30, 11:30, 12:30-ish. I mean, you can stay as long as you can because the presentation is fascinating, and it's not, you can't get a copy of it if you're not present, or you can't see it fully if you're not present. And so it's an important one to pay attention to. And I was so excited we saw this. It was posted either Thursday or Friday. So most of these were posted not, well, I want to go there because some of them have been posted a lot longer than that. So I just wanted you to see, if you miss it, the minutes, let's see here, I'll just show you. The minutes are something that I'm still working on, to be honest. The minutes are very, very basic, and not a lot to say with that. Okay, so now let me go back to what I really wanted to point out to you as I wrap up. Here is the other, I'll just show you this last thing. Let's see if I can put it right there. Yes, I can. Okay. So I've started this top 3 that I've decided to do on Mondays, especially mainly for city council meetings, because like there are 32 items on the agenda for this Thursday. There's no way most people are going to even look at the entire agenda, understand it, or know what to do with it. So for me, I just went through and tried to find the things that I think as an average person, what would I want to know about? And of course, we all have different preferences, but this is kind of what I wanted to do. Or this is what I think is most important for you to know from what I've observed. So there is the board appointments that are going to stay on the consent agenda, even though last time I said, hey, bring that to the front so we can hear all these citizens who are serving and they are putting on the consent agenda. I might reach out to a councilman and just ask them if they would pull it, and they would probably really not like me very much because there are a lot of items on the agenda to take care of. They don't like to spend a lot of time up there. And I understand, when it's just us up there, it's just us, regulars up there. It's not as exciting, of course, when more people start showing up, which I hope this will allow you to either come and join us in person because I'm always there, or in the peanut gallery, or watch online. You can watch online on the city's, I think they have a live feed on the city's website, or is it like channel 2 or something? I don't have those channels on cable or something. You can have it on, and I'll be there because I just want you to know that I am actually present there, paying attention. But the top 3, the board appointments, they've got this charity care program that again, I understand how it works. I just don't know if what's working is the best thing for us, and we just need to think about it. But this is the last thing I'm going to wrap up with, because I'm getting close here to 15 minutes, is that the final certificate of obligation bond is going to be presented on Thursday. And while I mentioned it briefly in the top 3, here's what I want you to understand. So we come into March with this big tax repayment that we have to make for the state as a city, like millions of dollars. Was it 3.7 million, $4.4 million that we have to repay over the next several years? So that was a blow, like out of left field. They're like, we had no idea. So March, we're like kind of reeling. And I say we, the officials and the citizens, were like, oh, that came out of nowhere. What are we going to do? On top of a year that's inflation is starting to kick in. So in June, things started getting a little dicey. Some memos going around. I can't remember exact. So by the July workshop that they had, it was like, okay, we're going to have to cut some stuff. They cut all charity donations, which I think is a good thing to pause, because why are we donating to charities? Like, the people should do that, not the government. The government's supposed to take care of the people unless they've contracted out work, which that's a conversation for another day. But anyway, there was no money to pay for the new police officers that they wanted to hire. So they cut some other things so that they could hire these new police officers and not call it taking on debt, which basically they just rearranged the things on the plate and said, okay, look, it's less, without taking anything off, which I think is kind of fun to pay attention to, because that doesn't change it. Just because you say we're going to pay with this in the budget and now we're going to take out a bond or debt to pay for these other things, it's all good. It's really not good. Thankfully, we paid our obligations to the Abilene Heritage Square, which again, why are we not putting aside of money in our capital improvement project? Why are there's just some things that I think, they're habits that they do that I don't think necessarily are evil, but I think it could be improved and we could make better choices. So they brought up the air tanker thing back in July, reminded, hey, we've got to pay for this. We kind of committed to it. We need it. And at the time, I've been wrong many times, so I'm not going to say I'm 100% sure, but it felt like it was like $1.9 million or $2 million. But now that more information has come out that it was actually 10% matching grant. So the state was going to pay 20 million, and we were going to match with 10%, which would have been 2.2222222, 2.2 million basically. And so that was what was going to happen. Moving forward, they were like, well, this is a long-term investment. This is a perfect idea to take on debt for a capital improvement project. And I understand we want to have the fire tanker here, the air tanker here. Basically, it's making a pad and a place where they can permanently house the airplanes here so that when there's a need, they can get out faster, because it was based in Austin and it was very congested in Austin. So it was harder for them to get in and out when they needed to. So I understand in theory, it's great. So I'm not happy about 2.2 million or whatever it was, but I get it. Okay. And they were going to take it out, and then the microwave radio was included in that. So maybe it was 2.3 million because the microwave radio and that combined, I think that sounds right, 2.3 million. So I'm not really even sure why the 2.2 wasn't always from the beginning, but whatever. So in October, I think it was, Robert Hanna, our city manager, had the unfortunate, he got paid the big bucks to present to the council the fact that no, we weren't going to do a 10% match of 2.2. We were going to do an additional 5.8, which made it, what is that, 7? I can't do the math right here. The total, I guess, is 7 point something, over $7 million total. So what was going to be 2 is now over 7. I think that it's got to actually be probably 7.5 or maybe even 8 million now, because the whole loan is $8.8 million. The whole bond is $8.8 million, because they're also paying for the microwave radio. Well, the good news is the microwave radio is less. Woohoo! But, oh, by the way, it's 5.8 million more than what we anticipated. And so it was an interesting conversation. The city council was like, oh, this is crazy. What's going on? Can't we find a better price? He's like, oh, no, we can't. We're at the wire here. This grant's about to go away. We gotta figure out how to do this. Listen, we'll just go ahead and do the the public notice, so that we have 45 days to figure out what's going on. And then we'll come back and we can talk about it. And I was like, ugh. I even got up and I said, this is dumb. I didn't say this is dumb, but I was like, this is done. Y'all have already done it. If you're going to put a public notice out, you're going to agree to do it. And they kind of looked at me like, oh, we're going to look at it. And I was like, no, this is y'all doing it. I mean, and here's what I'm frustrated about. This is like less than a year ago, Robert Hanna came to the city and said, okay, we committed $5 million of ARPA money, which is COVID money that the state gave us to spend on tourism, to help do these flat fields. Inflation has gone up, so we're going to actually have to double that. So he legitimately just said, okay, we have to spend $5 million more. And the city is like, okay. The city council just voted on it. And there was no discussion. Not one person discussed how in the heck are we going to come up with the $5 million and what in the heck was going on here. Okay. It was shocking. And I was still pretty green, so I didn't say anything. I didn't make a public comment or anything, but I was shocked how quickly they just approved $5 million from our budget. Okay, so that was in November. March, we're out of money. Or, oh, wait, the state's going to pay us. And then July, we're out of money. We're going to have to cut things. And now, oh, wait, we have another we're just going to take it out in debt in a certificate of obligation, which means you don't get to approve it unless you can get 6,500 of your closest friends or so, probably even more now, to sign a petition saying, I don't want you to do it. Take it to the ballot so we can vote on it. Anybody got 6,500 signatures of registered voters in Abilene in your pocket so that you can do that within 30 days? Yeah, that's not going to happen. That's an impossibility. That's a pipe dream that you don't even want to count on, because it takes at least 4 months to do that many signatures on a good day. Anyway, so we spent all this money and it's just kind of going out. It's like, I just don't know where it ends, right? And again, I've only been paying attention for 2 or 3 years, so I feel a little like, hey, is this normal? But it feels like it is. So the reason why I'm sharing this is, I was going to come and show you this. I'm sorry. This is me getting off sidetrack. And look, it's even longer than I meant for it to be. So I'll wrap this up here. I'll try and land this plane. But it's so good to pay attention to what they're doing here. This is why I want you to notice, because relationships have They matter. Okay. We just re-elected Stan Lambert as our HD 71 House District 71 representative. And this is why they wanted him back in, because he is pivotal in getting the things that they want. Now, I'm not sure he's pivotal in representing us, which I'm going to put to the test this year, which that's going to be a fun thing. We're going to see, and you can join me. It's going to be fun. I mean, it's not going to be fun like mean, but we're going to try and see how this works. We're going to test the wheels of this, consent of the governed thing. I'm sorry, I've got to come down here. I just want to show you really quickly. It's 24, I believe. Is that scary that I know? It's 24. Okay, here we go. So I just want you to see this agenda memo. I'm going to pull this down. You can't read it. No, that's the microwave radio. Okay, so that's a certificate of obligation. Oh, nope. Now I know where it is. Okay. So there's $8.3 million. Sorry, not 8.8. $8.3 million includes 7.7 for the airport ramp and almost 500,000 for the microwave communication system, which I heard a rumor there's still another CO or another grant or something floating around with extra money on it. I don't know where that went, and I haven't had the time to ask, to be honest. Okay. So we come down here to the second page where maybe it's the next one. I just wanted to show you this in real time, and this is what I get, right? Maybe it's on here. You can read resolutions by it. This is an ordinance for the debt. Yeah, I'm not finding it. I can keep looking, but basically what it said was that Stan Lambert helped acquire this grant of $20 million. So I think that's really interesting to know, and maybe it's here. Yep, here it is. I found it. I know I'm not crazy, but I'm sorry I'm taking more of your time. Okay, so the concept of constructing a new air tanker ramp at ABI has been several years in the making. State Representative Stan Lambert introduced a bill in the FY24 budget to fund the ramp's construction. Yay, Stan Lambert. Yay for a $2 million project. Not yay for an almost a $7.7 million project in this year. Any other year would be fine. Or maybe had we just saved some of that money up because we knew it was coming, why don't we set aside money to pay for these projects with the taxes that are collected? Why do we have to go in debt? And I remember another person in a conversation was like, yes, every time we take out new debt, we retire other debt. And I have yet to see any debt retired. Now, I'm not saying that I'm paying attention completely because I don't even know what that looks like to see debt retired, but it's not something that I'm super familiar with. And all I've been seeing them is take on more debt. By the way, anyway, I won't go there. I'll stay on track. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to show you to wrap this up is I just wanted to let you see that let's see if this is it. Because they came up with some more information, which I'm like, this would have been really helpful to do before you came and asked us. But that's not what happened. And I'm noticing that sometimes they have to find reasons to justify things. And so when that happens, like if this is a good thing, shout it from the rooftops. 2 years ago, we should have said, hey, listen to this potential economic impact for our city. Yay, that's good. Let's go for it. Hey, this is what it is. But none of that has been mentioned, since it's been approved by the state, since we awarded the grant, since we've been talking about this, since I've been paying attention to hearing about this, nothing has been mentioned about how awesome it will be for our community. Until this Thursday, guess what? The Chamber of Commerce did a study. Okay, they did a study and tells us that we're going to have an economic impact of $46 million. Wow, that's amazing. Sounds so amazing. It should have been mentioned a long time ago, but it's amazing. So we'll see. I mean, we're forking this out, and I'll tell you why. I think this is as much as good as done. They gave us the construction impact and the personnel impact, all these great things. So let's look at the report, because my first thought was, I need to see if they'll share the report with me. And then I was like, oh, look, they put it in the packet. Oh, look, they put it in the packet. Hold on. Sorry, this technology thing is not working so well for me. They put it in the packet. So let's read it. There it is. Okay, so the good news is if you look at it online, you can kind of read those numbers. So that's good. But guess what? We're not going to be able to look at this online. And if I print this out, I can't make it legible. So I'm actually seeing this for the first time because I try to look at it because I download every packet I always download because sometimes they change it and I never know what they're changing. So they're saying that industry total output. I mean, so they're saying now this is a win for our community because it's $46 million. I don't doubt that there's going to be some benefits, but sometimes there are repercussions to lazy. Not lazy is not the right word because that's derogatory. I'm not trying to be derogatory. You can get comfortable doing things the wrong way so much that you just justify doing it because eventually it'll work out. And I just am wondering who's going to pay the price one day when it doesn't. And we're in a year of inflation, and they're like, oh, it's only $11 per $100,000. There's businesses in here that are worth a lot of money. And to just minimize it, saying it's only $11 per citizen, it dismisses all the businesses that are our economic base in our city and how it's affecting them. I mean, I would love it if someone who owns a business would comment and say, hey, this is how much that $11 per 100,000 is going to cost me. I remember several years ago, one of the council members said, if they own $1 million, that's a lot of money. It adds up, and we've got to stop dismissing these small numbers. It's just like going to buy a car and they're like, oh, how much do you want to spend a month? $200. Okay, great. You're going to pay twice as much for the car at $200 a month, but you can totally afford it. That's economic craziness. And so I just think that we've got to rein this in because we have a lot of debt, and I have not seen them be intentional about using money differently. I know that they came in with a plan to do capital improvement projects through the minor improvement fund, which was a brilliant thing, but we've got to slow the roll and really figure out what is a priority for our city and cut out that fluff. I mean, you and I we don't get to go on vacation because, we could go on vacation if we take out a loan, but is that really worth it? No, it's not. There are things, and I guess that's not a fair comparison. I mean, do you remodel your home when you have are you like looking for ways to remodel your home? You're like, hey, I don't have any money. Everything costs a whole lot more. My dollar goes very less. Let's do this big remodel project right now. That sounds like a good idea. What do you want to remodel? No. You have to plan that out and think ahead. And you probably think, well, right now it's not the best time to do that. So let's back that up. So here I've gone 27 minutes. I'm so sorry. Or about that long. I didn't mean to go this long, but I just want you to understand it is important that we pay attention to this in isolation. Probably not a big deal, sort of, but add it all up, it makes an impact. And I am trying to figure these things out, and I don't have all the time to jump through every hoop. I have to do what I do when I can do it. And so you're at the same place, but I'm trying to help you be even further ahead than me. So let's pay attention. Let's watch this thing together. This week, if you come to the city council meeting, I'll be there. If not, that's okay. Watch online. If you happen to be in the downtown area around lunch on Friday, come join us. We'll be there. And I'll also be at the health department meeting on Tuesday. So we got a full week going on and lots of good things happening during the season, but we got to stay involved, stay connected so that we make sure we know what's going on. So thanks for sticking around with me as long as this was. Make sure you subscribe and share with your family and friends so that they can also know what's going on too. And drop me a comment. What are your thoughts? Do you think that it's wise just to trust the city? Do you think that they should record all, board meetings for us? Because if they're connected to the city, we should have access to those meetings, and they don't always post the minutes. They don't always post the packets. And so at least having the audio of those files. What do you think about that? Should they do that? Or should it just be up to us to have to attend everything and do it on our own time? Give me some feedback. Let me know. But thanks for watching. I hope that you're educated, informed, and empowered to make an impact in Abilene and the Vic Country. Thanks for watching. Until next time.